Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. It's great to have you for another weekend workshop. And this is a topic that we've never tackled before. And it's so wonderful to have the Smith School of Business joining us today to talk about experiential learning, how you can get the eyes of an MBA student on your business, which I know that some of you are ready for that leveling up. So great to have you. It's great to have Mitch, Samantha, Joanne joining us from Smith School of Business. But just before we hand them the virtual microphone, I want to welcome you as part of today's workshop. And I hope that you'll let us know in the Zoom chat where you're connecting from, as Michelle just did. You can tell she's been to a few of these things. If you have a link to your business and you want to let us know where you're from, we'd all love to learn that. Even if you're outside the Kingston area and you'd like to let us know geographically where you're connecting from, we would love to hear from you. So take a moment to do that. And while you do, I'm going to acknowledge that Queen's University is situated on the ancestral territory of the Anishinaabe and the Haudenosaunee peoples. And as many of you know, it has been our honor and privilege here at the Weekend Project to work with more than 130 Indigenous-owned businesses. Some of them are on the call today. It's great to have you. And I just want to acknowledge the deep meaning and appreciation that I personally have had working with Indigenous women entrepreneurs and getting to know the business philosophies, the heritage, the culture, all of those intricacies that make Indigenous culture and by extension business so unique. And I can say that the Weekend Project is richer for it. So I hope that you will take some time as well to figure out, if you are not even in the Kingston region, which territory you are situated on, and I'll drop a link in a moment so you can do that. It's so wonderful to have everyone on the call. I know we just have 1 hour together today. What we're going to do is we're going to do the learning first, and then if you want to put your questions in the Zoom chat, you can do that, although we're going to hold them till the end, unless it's a burning question. But I think for the most part, we're going to hold those till the Q&A. I will keep track of those questions as well to make sure we don't lose sight of them. I know Joanne and Samantha and Mitch are on the call today, so they're going to tag team as well. But if you want to just listen, sometimes we ask questions and then they're going to be covered in the next slide. So I just want to make sure that we get through the material, and then definitely we'll answer any questions you have. There's going to be quite a space of time for that at the end. All right, so it's great to have you. Mitch, I'm going to, I believe, hand you the virtual microphone to get started today. Welcome. It's so great to have you.
Thanks, Carrie. Really appreciate the time and having us here today. And hello, everyone. I don't think we're going to be taking the whole hour. We'll probably about 15 to 20 minutes of your time, and then a lot of time for Q&A because there's lots of exciting opportunities to tap into at the business school. So on the call here today, you have Joanne, Sam, and myself. We're part of the Smith School of Business Experiential Learning team, and we'll get into experiential learning and what that means exactly in a minute. I know sometimes academia speaks from the academia lens, and industry also doesn't always speak the same language. So we'll tie that together in a moment. The interesting part about our team is we not only run projects for the business school itself at Queen's, but we also are running a cross-campus initiative focused on net zero and sustainability right now for undergraduate students. So I know it's not in the presentation, but I believe it was, I just put my chat away, but I think it was Lori, sorry, said she's with Artfully Recycled. So I thought it might be good to highlight that at some point because there might be some opportunities to engage with students on that lens too. As I mentioned, so the team here we have on the call today, we have Joanne Metcalf, who's our business development manager and leads a lot of the capstone project opportunities, as well as the industry liaison for our QVent project, which is the Queen's Venture Creation on Experiential Learning and Net Zero Training project. We have Sam Arneal on the call, who's the project manager for the QVent project, and who is our lead for the Equity, Diversity, Indigenization, and Inclusion internship program, so EDIQ program for short. And then you have myself, Mitch Gudgeon, who's the director of partnerships and special projects, and I do a lot of work with industry and community for Smith School of Business and also Queen's. So what is experiential learning to start? Just so we're all speaking from the same lens, basically at the end of the day, it's helping students learn by doing. So it's giving them opportunities to engage with community partners, to start businesses, to engage with industry on, developing recommendations, proof of concepts, completing internships, co-ops, practicums, field placements, even research, service learning, so volunteerism, volunteer work, and all these different opportunities, there's a reflective component to it. So, students will go through capstone project, work with an industry partner, learn communication skills, learn, leadership, learn how to develop strategic recommendations, and, whatever the project entails. And then there will be like a personal reflective piece for them at the end of it, so that they're able to reflect and learn what they did through the project, and hopefully be able to improve their skills over time. And one of the cool things that's happening right now is, with the government of Ontario, and also I believe across Canada, is that they're starting to mandate that every student have an experiential learning opportunity through their degree. So there's going to be more and more of these opportunities coming from Queens. And so, we'll get into it in a minute of sort of what they are here at Smith. But at any time, if you're ever wanting to find a student to help out, let us know. We can help direct you in the right way. So some of the benefits of experiential learning, obviously the first one that we love to promote is, access to exceptional talent. The nice part about experiential learning is they're not always paid opportunities. So there is paid internships, there are paid co-ops. We do want to pay students for, full-time work experiences, and that's what we do support. However, there's lots of opportunities to engage with students on things like capstone projects, where an individual student will, do this as part of their coursework and help work with a business, do 30 to 100 hours of consulting basically. And it's part of, they get, course credit for that at the end of the day. It could be an individual, it could be a team, it could be an entire class that you engage with. So there's lots of opportunities for businesses to also work with students, even small businesses that, don't necessarily have the capacity and cash flow to do so. But this also helps with, building a talent pipeline for your business, building brand awareness, as is also on there, and make students a bit, more familiar with the culture and your organization. The ability to leverage the student expertise and knowledge is important. And, I've ran a business myself and have used students for projects. They often come at it of a different lens, possibly a different skill set even, and it allows you to leverage their expertise across a range of opportunities. And I know Carrie mentioned the full-time MBA program, so the MBA programs at Smith, but we actually have, I believe it's 16 different programs at the business school now, including 4 MBA programs, lots of Masters of Management programs focused on things like artificial intelligence, finance, analytics, financial technology, project management, and others. And then we have an undergraduate suite of programs too, with close to 2,500 students in the business school alone, that are all specializing in different areas. So there's a lot of different students trying a lot of different things, and interested in a lot of different things to explore. So we can pretty much help you identify the right opportunity to work with a school and find a student that will align with your needs. Tied to that, leveraging expertise and knowledge, boosting innovation is another one. A lot of these students are entrepreneurs or, very entrepreneurial, where they want to work with an organization, help them innovate, help them try new things. Often we find a lot of the work that students do with these industry partners and community partners is that work on the side of your desk that keeps piling up, and you're just needing somebody to help get that project off the ground, do that market research, provide some recommendations on a direction to go. Those are often the most valuable projects for these students and also the organizations they work with. It often doesn't affect the workflow that you have, and allows you to get ahead on some of the pressing projects that are, whether it's building stress up or whether it's just something that you need to do, but just can't take off the to-do list because you're at capacity, especially as many of all the entrepreneurs here on the call. Supporting diversity and inclusion. There's many different programs at the business school that support equity deserving students. We have a high number of international students, high number of equity deserving students across all our programs. There's a great opportunities to connect with them, and Sam's going to dive into that in a minute about the undergraduate program that we run called the EDIQ program. At the end of the day, all these opportunities, we see a high return on investment from the time that's put in. As I said, in some cases with internships and, some of the other sort of full-time opportunities that we provide, or, summer internships or jobs, yes, these are paid, but there's a higher ROI on those. For the ones that are integrated into the coursework, these are, at no cost to the organization other than some time on your end. And one, it helps the students learn, and two, it helps your organizations across, all these different benefits that we just talked about right now. I know I've kind of touched on them all right now, but really what our team does is help connect industry and community partners with the student talent that we have through experiential learning. And we often use the term try before you buy. It allows you to get familiar with students, try a couple of them out for the work that you have. If you are looking to hire students, it builds that talent pipeline and allows you to really have a low risk, I guess, experience with them. To understand if it's somebody you would want to bring on full time for your organization if it's growing, which can often be those critical hires when you're at the early stage and you're possibly at a smaller to medium sized organization. So we'll go over 3 different parts today. I'm gonna pass it over to Joanne here in a second to talk about course integrated projects. Then we're going to pass it over to Sam to talk about the EDIQ program, and then I'll get into some funding subsidy that's called the My Tax Business Strategy Internship Program. Which I think is a very important and one that a lot of organizations tap into. But I think the one thing to note is that across all the different programs that we run, we take a very consultative, approach to it and act as kind of advisors for your organization. So we're always available to meet with you, chat about the challenges that you're facing, and then identify the different programs that might be the right fit for what you're trying to achieve in your current situation. So I'm going to pass it over to Joanne to talk about the course integrated projects. I think they're both on the same computer right now, so it's saying Sam or Neil on the video, but that's actually Joanne here speaking for us.
Joanne? Hi everyone. Sorry about that. Was kind of dealing with some tech issues. So I'm here to talk about the course integrated project opportunities. So Mitch briefly touched on these, that across Smith School of Business, we do have 16 plus academic programs that have a component where there is sort of a course embedded project or capstone project that's involved in it. And so what this is allowing is it's providing students with that real world experience and working with an industry partner at the same time. So it's, in the end, it's sort of a win-win opportunity for both the student who gets that experience, but also the employer who there's actually no financial commitment on your end. And so you come out of it with a report or recommendations or an analysis of the challenge or project that you were having that student work on. One of the nice things about so many of the opportunities is that you could be working with one-on-one with a full-time MBA student. You could be working with a group of students, or for our undergraduate programs, we also have it where it's an entire class of 500 students working on this one challenge that your organization has. So it really gives you a lot of opportunities. And if you're looking to grow your business in different ways, it's a great way to get a fresh set of eyes on potentially that challenge that your organization is fitting. So the one that we're going to talk about a bit more today is the full-time MBA. Mitch, there's another slide, sorry. There we go. So the full-time MBA, we're actually sourcing projects at this moment for the full-time MBA course with submissions going to be at the end of April. And so this is a one-on-one. So one full-time MBA student working with one organization over 6 months. So it's a lot of, there's a time commitment there from an employer, but you really come out of it with a strong deliverable of a 10+ page consulting report with analysis and recommendations of how to sort of move forward at this moment. Some of our past projects that we've had were students developing a 5-year growth plan for an organization, or a marketing plan, or looking at how you could start to scale up, say, your manufacturing, and then providing you with those recommendations to move forward. And so I have here sort of the process of it. So April, we'd be looking at having submissions in. they would come to our team here, and then we would share them with the faculty lead. And then it's a matching process. So they're shared with the students, and if they have an interest in, you know, your organization or the project that you're having, they'll then, you know, connect with you, and you and the student develop a plan. And then it's you know, 6 months of them working with you on this project or challenge that you have, and, you know, regular sort of check-ins, liaising with each other. And then at the end in December, we would be able to, you'd have the end results there of their deliverables. So it's a great opportunity. There's also other opportunities. We always have courses running. So potentially if the full-time MBA isn't, you know, of interest for you, or you don't have that project just yet, you can always reach out to us as well. And, you know, we'd be able to provide you with, you know, other programs that are running to see what's the best fit for both your organization and your challenge that you have. So I'm now going to pass it on to Sam, who's going to touch more on EDIQ.
Can I just say, add one part there too, Joanne, is that we do have a case team at Smith. So, you know, Joanne mentioned working with 500 students in a course as an example. You wouldn't directly liaise with 500 students. You would directly liaise with our team and the faculty member leading the course. We would co-develop a case, we'll call it, that would be presented to students, and then the students would go off and do their work, possibly with you coming to the classroom a couple times. The full-time MBA project is an individual project, so you work with one student, in which case you would work directly with that student. But in many cases, when you're working with an entire course, you will work with the faculty member in our team and the case writing team to develop that case, present it, you know, go into the class, deliver some more insights a couple times, and you know, do some Q&A, but you don't have to liaise with 500 students at once. I just want to make that apparent. Thanks. Sam?
Awesome. So I'm going to talk about the Equity, Diversity, Inclusion, and Indigenization Internship, EDI 3 or CUBE program. So this program is a career support that enables students from equity deserving groups to access meaningful work experiences, build social capital, and develop key employability skills. We're currently in the 3rd year of this program. And this program is open to 1st, 2nd, and 3rd year commerce students at Smith School of Business. We provide support to students enrolled in this program in sort of 3 different areas. So we support securing summer internships. So we have a job board, and employers are able to post roles on this job board that are available to students that are enrolled in the EDI Cubed program. We have relationship managers here at the CAC that help source roles, as well as Joanne Metcalf, who you just met virtually. She can source roles as well. Second is connection to a Smith alumni mentor. So as part of the program, students will be matched with an alumni mentor based on industry interests. So what they're interested in doing in their internship. And then third is professional development activities. So for a couple of examples, we have an orientation that's set for this week, actually, for students enrolled in the program. We'll be delivering a speaker series, and then we have in-house career coaches here at the Career Advancement Center to help ensure that students are prepared and career ready for their internships. Next slide. So on this slide, I will get into some of the numbers and demographics for the program. So this year we have 112 students that are enrolled in the program, 97 alumni participating as mentors. And to date, we've had 169 jobs posted on our job board that are available to students that are enrolled in this program. We have a 96% net promoter score. And for those who may not be familiar, a net promoter score is used to gauge customer satisfaction. So 96% of students that were enrolled in the program last year said they would recommend this program to another student. And then the equity deserving groups that are represented in this program, we have women, LGBTQ2S+, racialized, visible minority, Black, Indigenous, East, Southeast Asian, South Asian, Latino, Middle Eastern, first generation, and then students with financial need as well. And then the last chart there, our gender that is represented in the program. So female at 46%, male 52%, non-binary 1%, and then preferring not to answer at 1%. So that's it for me in terms of the EDIQ program, but happy to welcome any questions that you may have at the end of the presentation. And at this time, I will throw it back to Mitch to talk about MyTax.
Thanks, Sam. I'll mention on the EDIQ program too. This is called a brainchild of Dean Wanda Costin, who's a huge advocate for and leader in sort of the women's research space and equity deserving research space too. So she's the dean of the business school. And when she joined Smith, proposed this program. So we've been leading it for a couple of years with a ton of success, and students are obviously very happy, see the net promoter score there. So I just want to add that to that part. And I will dive into the funding subsidy that actually can support this program and support any other sort of case or capstone, or sorry, any other type of project work that you're looking for. So I'll share a bit about the MyTax Business Strategy Internship Program. This is a 50% funding subsidy that allows any business and organization to hire a student for a 4-month flexible internship project. So it is not a true internship because students don't receive on their academic transcript. It's more defined as a project, and there's a lot of benefits to this one specifically because the HR admin side of things actually falls onto us. So we actually deliver all the payments to students. We track the reflective components. We provide a project advisor for each student that's working through it. And then our team is in the background, ability to support them throughout the process. We also provide a standard experiential learning placement agreement, which allows coverage from insurance perspective, and IP rights are defined in there. All the details that a small business that doesn't have a ton of legal capacity, it allows you to have at least an agreement in place with the student that covers you from non-disclosures, IP and all the other details, of which you can also define in that agreement. So it's a very flexible agreement that you and the student can work on together. And like I said, from the HR standpoint, we deliver all the payments. You obviously have to go through the hiring process to decide which student you wish to bring on. But you don't have to do some of those back-end admin tasks that often are frustrating to deal with. Students can come on for 4 months, so 16 weeks, up to 6 months in length. You can ask them to work, between, a full-time type engagement, so 35, 40 hours a week, all the way down. Some students work about 5 hours a week on these projects over a longer period of time. And it allows them to, work within the schedule that they have. These students are, full-time students. They are anywhere from an first-year undergraduate student all the way up to a very seasoned executive MBA student. So some students are, working on the evenings and the weekends. Some work during the day, and so all the programs allow that flexibility for this. It also is one of the rare funding subsidies available to international students too. So that's another benefit of it. Most funding subsidies that we're aware of, international students are not eligible. This one it is. So there's a bigger pool of talent at the business school that you can tap into. In terms of the details of the program, there's sort of 2 types of projects. So one is a $10,000 project, and we suggest these are more for the undergraduate students at Smith. And there's a graduate, so master's level or PhD level project as well. And these are at $15,000. So in terms of partner contributions or the industry partner or community partner, For the 10,000 ones, you put 5,000 in, and then for the partner, the 15,000 one, you put 7,500 in. I will mention that is for if you're an Indigenous owned business or you hire an Indigenous student through this program, it's a 75% funding subsidy for it. So you only have to contribute 25% instead of 50%. With that, the students complete a 4-month up to 6-month work term. And like I said, it's very flexible in terms of the amount of time and location and how it's delivered. Students at the graduate level, there is a small fee that we pay that allows us to cover all the project advisors' stipends. So students are paid $13,500 of the $15,000. At the $10,000 projects, they're paid the entire amount. Quick overview of the process. So first stage is select a student. You can post any roles with us to all our business school students, and they can apply to you directly like they would a normal job. You can then decide which student you wish to work with. Students are also all briefed, and we're doing presentations even this week with a number of students across the business school on the process to actually submit an application. So there's a registration and application portal that MyTax has. It's quite straightforward. They ask you a number of questions about the project, the scope, the outcomes, etc. We are also in the background there to support you through that entire process, and so is MyTax. You submit the application. It takes a couple weeks to approve, and then you receive that approval. At that point, you'll then be invoiced by MyTax for the amount that you define in the project. From there, you'd sign the Queen's Experiential Learning Placement Agreement, the ELPA. And then from there, we'd connect you with the project advisor, the student, and the project would launch. So it's actually a quite straightforward process that if you will send this deck to afterwards, so Carrie can pass this out to everybody. But there is a link there that you can go onto our MyTax BSI page. And if you submit your email and name through that, it provides a step-by-step process for you of all the details that you need to apply and to submit an application for that program. We've had more than, I believe it's close to 200 community partners and industry partners go through this program over the past couple of years. And it's one of those ones that's great to mobilize funds for students that are often in financial need, or international students that can only work a certain amount while they come to Canada. So it's a great program to help them get by too. So in terms of next steps, and we'll dive into Q&A here in a second. Like we said, you can partner with us to create those course integrated industry projects. We can reach out to us to discuss either the MyTax BSI and or the EDIQ program. And then, really, if you have an experiential learning strategy or a student talent strategy, we can work with you or connect you with the right people internally at the business school or all of Queen's to discuss those opportunities. And we make sure that we want to make sure that all our opportunities are efficient and at your fingertips. So check out our website to view all the different opportunities. There's submissions pages right there. We will follow up with you, or you'll receive the automated email on the processes for any of the opportunities that we've defined and chatted about today. And like I said, Carrie, hopefully we'll be able to pass out this this slide deck. You got the link to our page right there. So, like I said, please connect with us, and I believe that is it.
Actually, let's just leave that contact info up there for a couple more minutes.
Yeah, sorry, I thought there was a Q&A slide after that, so I clicked one too far.
I just want to make sure that everyone gets your emails. Okay, fantastic. Do you want us to move into the Q&A, Mitch?
Yes, please do so.
Okay, great. I know there's a couple questions that have come in as well. A couple people couldn't be here today, so I want to cover their questions. But just to address the most recent one in the chat, the process is then that you provide the link, people or partners, as you call them, businesses on this call, in other words, submit and they apply, correct? And they wouldn't then pitch directly to the students. You do that for them, correct?
Yes, exactly. So we would, depending on the type of project that you're submitting. So if it's a course integrated project and you're looking for an individual student, then we would share your project scope with the class, and students would, reach out to you and say, I'm interested in your project. Like that's the full-time MBA project that Joanne shared earlier. In the case where there's an entire class, so it's some of the courses ask for, a case or a project that, 50 to 100 to 500 students would work on. In that case, you'd work directly with us and the faculty member to develop the case. And then the only time you'd really interact with the students on a direct basis would be when you present your case to this class. If you come into the classroom or on video, for instance, to share, updates, insights, whatever, do Q&A with the students. And then upon the final presentations, because the students will provide recommendations to you at the end of that case. Yeah.
Excellent. And so if someone, I know that some of these application forms sometimes can be onerous. We have a number of women with a disability as a part of our community. Is there an alternative way to apply if they're not able to complete it online?
Definitely, yeah. So we have the online opportunities. They're very straightforward forms to fill out. If you cannot fill out those forms, we can meet with you. We have a team, obviously Joanne and Sam in Kingston. We can meet with you in person. We can also, host you at the business school, and we can also set up a video call. So, pretty much we try to make it as accessible as we can for any different business to tap into. And like we said, we take a very consultative approach to understand the scope and find this project scope for what you're trying to achieve, and then are able to then work with point you in the right direction to the right programs to work with. So yeah.
Right. I love the fact that there are paid and unpaid opportunities. Obviously, for the MBA student, you put up the $5,000 fee there, and some businesses that's just not realistic because they're in the early stage. But for someone, I know certain people on the call for sure, that's within their scope. So I like that there's those options. And so I guess remember that as you apply, depending on your budget, what type of student, or what stage of student you might get, which I think is great, because at the end of the day, you do get some fresh eyes on your business. And there's one more question that was asked that I want to cover, which is when working with students, are they working in a online forum or person to person? Because I know that there's even a couple people on the call, they're not right in Kingston. So how do they work? Like, what's the how does it work? Is it they meet in person, or can it be online?
Yeah, that once again, flexibility there too, is that you get to decide. So if you say, hey, this is a fully virtual role, that's fine. Students would work with you virtually. If you say this is in person, that's going to restrict the students that could work with you. But it means you get what you need and you have a student there in person. If you want a hybrid role, a bit in person, a bit not, then that's okay too. So really, you get to define what you need, and that'll just also, restrict or open the number of students that you can tap into and the types of programs that you can tap into. The one thing I will say is that for the course integrated projects, we love to have partners come in person, and you wouldn't be coming every week. You'd be coming maybe once or twice during the duration of the entire project into the class. If you're presenting to 50 to 100 students or whatever it may be. That being said, we can also host virtually. So Smith School of Business, we're kind of like the leaders in the virtual learning space in a sense, since I think it was like the 90s we started on this. We have virtual boardrooms across Canada. So executive MBA students learn and work in Vancouver, in Montreal, in Calgary, and Halifax, even up in the Northern Territories too. And they join virtual teams. So we have the ability to deliver across Canada, and we have the ability to work with partners in sort of any capacity too.
Awesome. So eligibility, they don't have to necessarily be right in Kingston, is what I'm hearing.
Not at all.
Okay. And I just wanted to wrap up with, and then definitely if anyone has a question, put it in the Zoom chat, and then I'll know that you're going to do it, or even raise your hand. Sam and Joanne, are there examples of projects that have happened? I think people, like when you say capstone project, some people don't even know what a capstone project is, right? So let's just take this out of university talk and make it small business. Like, what are the kinds of projects? And maybe you mentioned it and I missed it, but could you give a couple examples?
Yeah, of course. So some of the ones, especially for the full-time MBA that we're looking for, was we had a company looking for a student to develop a 5-year growth strategy, or, sort of working to investigate and recommend a product or service expansion opportunity. So, looking to grow sort of their industry at that time. And then also assessing any market entry challenges. So I think for entrepreneurs or for smaller businesses, this is a great opportunity to take, where you're at now And if you're looking to grow and expand, which many people I assume probably are, you could bring in a student to do that sort of market research for you at this time, see where that growth opportunity is, and maybe what they recommend you, how they recommend you sort of go through with that. And then of course you take what they've provided you, and then, you know, you don't have to follow it if it doesn't fit, or if it is what you're looking for, then you definitely can. We do have other ones as well with other programs where it's a little bit more analytical, you know, where they're using data analytics to solve a problem, and also developing any like financial feasibility models as well. So there's a lot of opportunities, and it even could be a phone call with myself, where we sort of talk about your organization, and then we can sort of develop out what a challenge or a problem might be for that organization.
Awesome. Thank you. And I know that the question was just asked in the chat, and I'll just reiterate it for the YouTube video, which many will be watching later. And that is, if they don't know which of these programs are a fit, who should they reach out to? I'd suggested someone in the chat, but I'll throw it over to you folks. Here's the thing with our small business owners is Queens is a mammoth organization, right? And they just want a name sometimes and an email as a portal to go into this maze, you know, that is Queens. So who, Mitch, should they reach out to?
Yeah, so I just realized that we have all our individual emails here. So you can reach out to any of us and we can make sure you get to the right person. Or we have our general email inbox for Smith Experiential Learning. So I put that in the chat. I will add that to the presentation before we share it with Carrie to disperse with everybody in the group here. smith.el@queensu.ca. That will go, and all of us have access to that. So the appropriate person will respond. And then help you out through the process for whatever opportunity you're interested in.
Yeah, I love that. And I mean, We Can Project is all about leveling the playing field. And sometimes when you don't have this network that we're talking about today, this is just an on-ramp for people to get into it. And I think that there's some real value and opportunity here. Let's just make sure that everyone knows where to go. Fantastic. Okay, any other questions that I don't believe I've missed any in the chat. For those specific scenarios, I've definitely suggested you reach out to Mitch, and you know, if it's a follow-up on a previous call, for instance. But are there any questions that haven't been covered today that might be still a question mark in your mind as it relates to, you know, a paid or an unpaid student? And certainly, oh, go ahead, Chas.
I'm sorry, I'm on a cell phone, so me typing is I dissociate. So my question is that how or are we able to implement it as research or a research component?
Yeah, are you keen on like applied research or theoretical research? So applied research being a PhD student working on like a consulting research project with you, or developing a proof of concept. Or are you looking more to get involved with research, you know, with a faculty member or PhD student who wants to, you know, write a research report on that? Is it, or do you maybe not know? Because either way, we can put you in touch with the research office and they can help you out from there.
I'll just call after you and then we'll figure out what I'm supposed to do because I don't know.
Yes, and some
yeah.
people might not be looking for research at all. You're like, and you might be looking for operation, like, let's get this business.
Oh no, I wanted research. Like this was a whole component. So that's exactly what was why the students were offered 2 years ago. So that's why I would like to reach out. So thank you.
Good, let's follow up on that. Any other questions before
Hi, can I just ask one? Because
yes,
I'm driving, I can't raise my hand.
Yes, please,
I can't see anything. So I was just wondering about like what stage would a good time be? Like, for example, I have a new product that I'm going to be developing and I have a partner and it's something that I want to like market to the government and stuff like that. So I'm just wondering if that would be an appropriate, like it's just a new idea, right? And it's just something that's coming. So is that too early to start thinking about having some kind of a plan? Because as I'm driving, I'm thinking, well, here's stage 1, here's stage 2, here's stage 3, here's stage 4. But Like,
Yeah,
it would be great to have that expertise for sure in this process because I'm going into something new.
yeah, no, that's a great question. So I think it depends on a lot of different factors. So if you're an existing business that's looking to launch a new product into a new market,
Yes.
that's a great project because that's a new innovation project. And we have our Masters of Entrepreneurship and Innovation students, and they're always looking for whether it's an individual student or the class is looking for these types of projects, and they can provide recommendations on how to like jump into that new market. You could also work with an MBA student, for instance, the program that Joanne shared earlier, the full-time individual project. You could have an MBA student do a full consulting project on that. And actually, I had a similar project when I had my own business that I did similar thing to you, is work with an MBA student and actually a Master's of International Business student to do that exact thing, launch a new product in a new market. There's not necessarily too early of a stage to engage students. It's just the program and the more so the program or the opportunity would align with the stage that you're at. So we might, if it's a totally new business or you have an idea, you might have just incorporated and need some help getting things off the ground. Maybe there's like a My Tax Business I student, a BSI student might be the right fit, or maybe an individual consulting project might be the right fit. Whereas if you're a large business launching a new product, maybe there's a different program that is a better fit for you. So, I think once again, we take a very consultative approach. If you want to reach out to us, we can totally find the right opportunity because it's not too early of a stage to work with us.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
You're
Great
very welcome.
question, Allison. And just from Allison's question, I mean, is it safe to say that when people come to you, they need to at least know the problem that they want to solve? Is that what you need from them?
Yeah, it's a great point, Carrie, and we can help a little bit with that, but the biggest challenge for us is when organizations come to us and say like, this is what we're doing, but we don't really know what we want to accomplish, what our objectives are, what the problem is we're trying to solve. We can only do so much with that. So I think if you come with a very clear problem, whether it's trying to launch into a new market, whether it's I'm trying to figure out ways to increase revenue for my business, or reduce costs through finding different ways to leverage AI or something like that. We can help you with those, but when it's a very wishy-washy problem, it's very hard for us to find the right fit for the right program.
That's a great point. And so what I was offered to the weekend community, I think everyone on the call here, many who are watching on YouTube later, are weekend clients. You can just book a meeting with me if it's helpful to brainstorm for an hour. What is the problem you're trying to solve? And we can actually articulate that. So when you go to these folks, it's a little bit more prepared, and we want to set you up for success so that you can get in the queue, right? So let's articulate that. And that's why we're here, sort of as that pre-stage. Okay, so we're certainly here, as many of you know, to do that type of work. All right, so I think we're ready to wrap up at the moment. I don't see any other questions in the Zoom chat. I do encourage you to, I do encourage you to reach out to the folks on the screen. They know their stuff. And of course, the additional email that was given in the Zoom chat, which is smith.el for experiential learning, I'm assuming, smith.el@queensu.ca is also a great portal to start you off. So seeing no other questions, I want to make sure that we honor your time, because I know you've got many things to do today. On behalf of Weekend Project, I'm definitely grateful to Mitch and Sam and Joanne today for spending some time with us. I learned a lot, and that's helpful because when I speak to our clients as well, I can give them more information and point them in the right direction. Deadline, final note, Mitch, the deadline for this current, what's the next deadline people maybe should be aware of?
Yeah, so it's April 30th or May 1st. I can't remember the exact day, but the full-time MBA individual project, that's the due date for that. The My Tax BSI program, I'm anticipating they'll extend this, but they have said that the end of the funding is going to be the end of March this year, unfortunately. So most likely they'll get renewed and there'll be more funding available, but we're kind of on My Tax's schedule for that, and if there's more funding available to that. For that program. So that's another one just to be aware of if you're looking to get a My Tax Business Strategy internship program. It doesn't mean they have to start by then. It just means your application has to be submitted by then.
Right.
And then we can go from there. So students could start in September next year if you wanted.
Good.
Carrie, I'll just mention, because I did say it at the beginning of the call, the QVent project, the Queen's Venture Creation Experiential Learning and Net Zero Training project. We are looking for internships for that for students across all programs at Queen's. Joanne is leading that part. So summer jobs and internships. You know, I think that's an important one to also look to connect with. For our
Right.
team.
And actually, Joanne, if you could send me that information today, I have someone in mind, a client that I believe would directly benefit. So we'll get that going for you today. So there was another thought I had and it just went out of my brain, but that's okay. Go ahead. Did Sam or Joanne, did you have something to say?
No, I was just gonna say I can send you that and we can also include it in the slide as well if we're gonna add a little bit in. Just as a link to it has its own website, so.
Okay, excellent, excellent. So yeah, stay tuned. Oh, I know what I want to say. Joanne is now a member of the We Can Facebook community. And so she will have, and Joanne as well. Oh, sorry, that was Joanne. Sam as well, if you're interested, then you can post things in there. And so watch the Facebook group as well. So these opportunities with deadlines will likely in the future be posted there. And of course, you've seen them start to pop up in our newsletter, which appears, of course, in your inbox every Monday. So we're going to be in touch with Smith School of Business. This is just the start. And we want to make sure that if maybe you miss this particular application period, or it's not a right fit, or you need more time to think about it, in most cases, except for maybe my tax, there will be other opportunities, you know, assuming funding is renewed, etc. So we're just going to keep you up to date in the newsletter, in the Facebook group. So this is just the beginning of the conversation. So thank you so much for those who have attended today, and appreciate your time. Have a great day, everyone. Take care.